Welcome to another episode of Voices from the Void. My name is Gideon Blackthorn, keeper of the Haunted Library. There are some legends that speak of monsters, and then there are the ones that speak of something far more terrifying ourselves. Tonight, we step into the fog soaked corridors of Victorian England, into the candlelit halls and crumbling estates, to meet a young man whose tragedy was not that he was born different, but that he could never escape the sound of his own shadow. His name was Edward Mordache, and if legend is to be believed, he had two faces. Now, the story first surfaced in the late 1800s. It claimed that Edward Mordache was an heir to an English estate, intelligent, sensitive, and a gifted musician, a young man of refinement and culture. But on the back of his head, there was another face. Not a mask, not a trick of the light, but a second face. They said it could not eat. They said it could not speak in the daylight, but at night it whispered. Imagine that. You're laying awake in the darkness. The candles have long since burned down, and the house is silent. And from the back of your own head, you hear breathing, and then faint laughter, then words, soft and venomous, telling you things no mind should ever hear. Now, the legend says the second face would smile when Edward wept, and it would weep when he felt joy, and it would murmur things that he called hellish. Now, some versions claimed he begged physicians to remove it. He pleaded with them not to save his own life, but to silence the voice. They refused. Now, here's where the story becomes missed. Because there are no verified medical records, no birth registry, and no burial document. The tale appeared in an 1895 newspaper article, and from there it spread, copied into journals, retold in sideshows, reshaped by Gothic imagination. Now, was Edward Mordache real, or was he just folklore masquerading as fact? There is, in fact, a rare medical condition called diprosopis. Now, the word comes from the Greek, di meaning two, and prospun meaning face, quite literally, two face. Now, medically, it is a condition in which facial features are duplicated during early development in the womb. But recorded medicine has never documented a second face that actually whispered. No one that laughed at sorrow, and never one that spoke in the dark. That part belongs to the legend. And yet, the story survives. Because whether Edward existed or not, the metaphor does. How many of us carry another voice, a second face that we show only in the dark? The whisper that says that we're not good enough, the voice that laughs when we try to rise, the cruel narrator that keeps us awake at 2 a.m. What if the legend was never about anatomy, but about the war inside the human mind? Now, the legend says Edward could not endure the whispers any longer, that he ended his life in his early 20s, and that he left instructions for the second face to be destroyed before his burial so that he would never hear those whispers again. Now, whether that happened or not, we may never know, but the image remains. A young man walking candlelit corridors trying to outrun a voice that was part of him. So tonight, if you stood alone in a darkened room and heard a whisper from just behind your thoughts, would you know which face was truly yours. Because the most haunting legends are not about the ones with ghosts in the attic, they are the ones that suggest the attic is inside us. Thanks for wandering the library with me. Until next time on Voices from the Void, may your nights be a little spookier and your bookshelves a little more mysterious.